What's up, Airheads? Welcome back to another edition of Putting on Airs. I'm Trey Crowder, and that's Antonio Banderas, apparently. Look at that.
All right, and Governor, how you doing, man?
Yeah, that sounds exactly like Antonio Banderas.
Yeah. I don't think I'm allowed
No, you're not.
to do
You're not. It's
that
not,
one.
Yeah, it's not cool to do the...
Yeah.
But it should be, because, I mean, he's like a fucking
I think what it
sexy captain of sex,
okay,
you know.
but here's where I think it goes. I think if I actually could do a genuine Antonio Banderas impersonation, that's fine. Yes. But I've never practiced that. So what would happen was I would just do a very generic, whatever he is, impersonation. And I think that's kind of always how that really is. Like, if you can nail it and you sound just like him, nobody gives a fuck.
I want to agree with you, but I saw this. I remember watching Hard Knocks, the training camp show on HBO, the NFL training camp show.
One of my favorite shows of all time.
Well, you know, I am unfortunately a Raiders fan, which don't hit. And
why is that, by the way?
I'm a Raiders fan because, people often want to know that because I'm very, very Tennessean and proudly. But I've been a football fan my whole life as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, Tennessee didn't have a professional football team. The Titans did not exist yet. And at the same time, I had this older cousin, my first cousin, who was more like an older brother to me that I looked up to. He was like 5 years older than me, who I, looked up to and everything. And he was a drug addict and a felon.
Yeah, so naturally.
Huge Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Huge Raiders fan. And so I just kind of latched on to that.
Said fuck the police a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah. Love Dr. Dre, all that shit.
Yeah.
He's one.
Of course, great.
Hits real hard, dude.
Yeah.
He introduced me to Dr. Dre and all that shit, which was awesome.
Is he still with us?
No, of course not. No,
sorry.
No, baby. He OD'd years ago. Yeah. But, rest in peace, BJ. Love you, cuz. Anyway, he was a big Raiders fan, so I also was like, I'm a Raiders fan too. But it just stuck, and I've been a Raiders fan ever since. I also love the Titans, but I've just never left the Raiders for some reason. Why the fuck were we even talking about that?
We were talking about Hard Knocks, Antonio Banderas.
Yes, okay, so the Raiders were on Hard Knocks a couple years ago, and they brought in Frank Caliendo to training camp to entertain the players. And Frank Caliendo, master impressionist, he was there.
Right.
He was there because he does a perfect impression of the head coach, John Gruden. But while he was there, he also did some other impressions, including Stephen A. Smith, noted African-American sports talking head, shit talker, and it wasn't hidden for them. Frankly, Caliendo was kind of bombing.
Really?
But
was the impression good?
Dude, it's Frank Caliendo.
Right? No,
it was
I know.
Perfect.
I know.
It was note perfect.
Right.
But he was kind of bombing. It wasn't really hitting. And I just remember reading on the internet afterwards where people were talking about how it was kind of an awkward saying because Caliendo wasn't really hitting for them or whatever. And some people were saying like, yeah, well, look, here's the deal. A lot of people don't appreciate a white guy aping a black man.
Right.
What, probably poor choice of words. I don't mean it that way.
I know. It's
fucking impersonating a black man.
Right, yeah.
No matter how good it is.
Right.
And I don't have a better explanation for it other than just like athletes. I feel like a lot of athletes don't really have a great sense of humor.
Well, they haven't had a chance to have one because they've had one thing on their mind their entire goddamn life.
Which is crushing.
Yeah.
If you've just been crushing your whole life and been told you're correct about everything and everything hits for you your entire life as long as you can remember, you don't really have to develop a sense of humor.
For sure. Absolutely not. Or empathy or any of that shit.
So it probably also is that, but I just always remembered that where it's like, because like to me, like you said, it's like, if you do
a specific
if you're not
person.
if you're doing a perfect
By the way, we're willing to be wrong on this.
Right. But if you're doing a perfect Stephen A. Smith impression,
you're not doing a black
and
impression,
you're a white guy,
you're doing a person.
And you're not making it racial. You're not making racist jokes while in character as Stephen A. Smith. You're just impersonating him perfectly. I don't see what's wrong with that.
Me either, but again, we're
white. Apparently, but not everyone sees it that way, so you're probably correct to have not done an Antonio Banderas
to contrast
despite really channeling him with that chest hair.
To contrast that though, there was a clip that went viral like a couple weeks ago as we're recording this of a white dude doing a Charles Barkley impression, which was like one of the best impressions I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm pretty sure that guy hits for Charles Barkley, and they've had him on Inside the NBA.
Yeah, they have, and also like because of all
Charles
that,
Barkley's cool. Though.
He is cool, but like Charles Barkley also doesn't represent the entire black community. But like I remember like Rex Chapman shared that or something, and I remember my first thought was like, oh shit, I bet the comments are about to be like some fucking bullshit on this. And they weren't, because I think it was
because
one of them things
so
where everybody's like, I mean, God
every
damn,
head must bow, every tongue must profess.
And he was just saying stuff that Charles Barkley either literally had said or definitely 100% would say.
Yeah.
And as you said, it had no racial connotation. It was just like, this is how Charles Barkley sounds, and I can do that. Why wouldn't I do it? But like, yeah, it was amazing. So, but I'm not that talented. I can't do a goddamn Antonio Banderas impression except for what I'm clearly,
Yeah, you're channeling him physically.
Absolutely.
But also, he's one of them. I know he's.
What is he? I mean, I know.
Right.
I don't mean that the
no,
way
no, 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 no.
I genuinely don't know.
No, because I've always wondered, like, okay,
like I want to go Spanish.
Like,
but
people,
that could be a lot of things.
People from Spain, they still speak Spanish, but like a lot of them be white, right?
Exactly.
So that makes it not racist at all.
I know.
But obviously, it's a tough row to hoe.
You just may as well not do it. Is my point. But also, like,
that's mostly what we do is just not do it.
I genuinely don't even know how I would get into an Antonio Banderas. I would end up. What I would do is a Puss in Boots impression, and I think that would be okay.
Yeah. Do you remember when Alec Baldwin's wife got into all that shit because she had been faking being from Spain for years? It is insane. It's totally insane. But she's a white lady who was doing this whole "I'm from Spain, I'm Spanish" thing, and apparently that was all fake. That's completely insane. She deserves to be made fun of.
That's a mental problem, right?
Yeah,
because like you don't have to go, I need to elevate myself. You're fucking Alec Baldwin's wife.
But I feel exactly that way about all that. It is completely ridiculous, patently ridiculous. But like, it's not inherently racist, right? Because you can be a white lady from Spain.
Of course.
And
look, there she is, see? That's how we know the Spaniards.
Yeah, the Spaniards always fucking putting their arms by their butts.
Yeah, that's how they sit.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's how they sit.
Jesus Christ.
They did the shit on the Incans. So that's what, you know what I mean? Like, they did all that same white people shit back in the day.
Yes, of
Came
course
over
they
here
did.
and just took all their gold and murdered them all and changed their whole culture and everything.
sure.
And it's like they're no different than fucking the English or whoever was. But because the people they subjugated now use their mother tongue.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
You can't do that.
It changes the whole.
There's a lot of nuances, you know.
Well, you'd like to think.
And that's what we're trying to
there's
figure
a lot
out.
Of nuance. Yeah, that's what we do here on Putting On Air.
But either way,
we explore nuance.
Next episode, I will have worked on my Antonio Banderas impression and mastered it. That way it's not racist.
Let me tell you this. Fat Puss in Boots from Shrek 4.
Yeah.
It's harder for my 8 and 9-year-olds than pretty much anything that's ever
I don't
been
know that
in
I
the
saw
world.
Shrek 4.
Oh, dude.
And that's...
It hits.
Well, I love the
Well,
Shrek.
Puss in Boots is fat.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
He fat now.
Does he talk different?
It's kind of like Fat Thor before Fat Thor, if you think about it.
Does he talk fat? Like, does he change
Yeah, he's
his
out
kind
of breath and shit like that.
And
But
Puss
dude,
in Boots. There it is. See, I got it.
Yeah, Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
That's fine because
we're nailing it.
We're a cat. I'm not doing an Antonio
We're a
Banderas
cat.
impression.
We're doing a goddamn Mexican cat. A Spanish cat. That was a joke. Y'all know what I'm saying.
It was the goddamn before.
The
always. The goddamn Mexican.
You put a goddamn Mexican cat out there eating all these fucking burritos and shit.
Burr has a bit about that, but that's such a Southern thing too. Is like there's so many times that our papas and our uncles, had they not said "goddamn" before they said a thing, it would have totally been fine.
It's like in the Burr bit. It's like literally just putting the word "fuck" before the ethnicity as opposed to afterwards. He's like, if you say, "Hey, yeah, this Mexican motherfucker came in here," it's fine. But if you're like, "This motherfucking Mexican showed up," then it's like it changes the whole context.
Just like with our papas and stuff like that. If you're like, "Oh, why was your daughter late for dinner?" If he'd have just said, "Oh, she was down at the Mexican restaurant," that'd been fine. We go, "Oh, she was down at the goddamn Mexican restaurant."
Yeah.
That implies a certain like angst
level of
towards
disgust
towards the Mexican, even though that's just how he talks.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
We're gonna run into that a lot.
We are probably already have. I would imagine.
We literally just did. That's why we're discussing this.
So okay. So I wanted to say we talk about fancy people on this show. One thing I was thinking the differences between our cultures. I feel like when fancy people, and I'm sorry to upset any fancy people with this statement, but I feel like if you're fancy, having a parent or your parents die
awesome.
Hits.
Yeah, because
right? It hits. I mean, dude, Batman.
Yeah.
Like, I know it fucked him up. Sure, it fucked him up, but like
they were in a different situation.
But it turned him into Batman.
They were in a different situation where like they actually did have a bit of a relationship. You know,
like he was like young.
He was like 7 or 8.
Well, you know, in Lego Batman, where he's like he's doing that fucking EDM song or whatever.
Yeah,
he's like, but my parents died. Super rich, kind of makes it better, right? Because like it does,
and that's true.
You get all these gifts. It's like the biggest Christmas when your parents die. If you're fancy,
a little note about Batman is that they were murdered in front of him, which makes it a little bit different.
Sure,
and also again, he was like 7 or 8, so like it is a little bit different than if you were like 2.
Look, it don't hit to have your parents murdered in front of you, even if you're rich. But if it hits harder if you are rich. If you are poor.
The point that I was trying to make is that for a lot of them super fancy people like archdukes and stuff like that. Like Henry VIII, for example, when his dad died, he literally didn't have a relationship with him. So the only thing is like, oh, your dad died. Yeah, that sucks. But it's like you don't really have a lot of memories. And to them, it's like, oh, great. The guy who never really gave a fuck about me is dead. And now I get to do a bunch of cool shit because of it. And now I get to, like you said, like when they die, most of them people in that situation are going like, I can't wait for the will reading, baby.
Yeah, again, it's like mega Christmas when your parents die. I feel like a lot of like fancy people at a certain point, you reach a certain point where you're kind of sitting around waiting for your parents to die or something.
It's like our equivalent of getting a development deal. Like they know like, oh, it's coming in now.
That's when all the hits come through.
Yes, exactly.
Is when your parents die.
Because before that, they weren't hitting at all.
And listen, I know that it don't hit to have your parents die, even if you're
fancy.
Of
course
We're
not.
just saying...
Well, you've had your parents die.
That's why
you're fine to talk about this. You're pretty much Batman.
That's why I'm bringing this up. That's why that's the difference between our cultures. Like, if you're super rich and your parents die, even if you're real close to them, and obviously it don't hit, now you got a boat.
Exactly.
Which hits.
Nothing bad's gonna happen.
And it's like that. It's like that old Louis bit about how like when you have money, you get paid money to have money. But if you don't have money, it costs money to not have money.
Yeah.
And that's so true. And it's the same thing with having your parents die. So on that
I saw a tweet the other day that emphasizes that, which was somebody put up, I wish I knew who they were, but they said, my bank just explained to me that I don't have what it takes for a $980 mortgage. I don't have good enough credit for a $980 mortgage, so I guess I'll keep paying this $1,700 rent.
Right.
Like it just costs you money to be poor.
Yeah. So on that note, I want to share a personal anecdote. This is how trash I am. This is how on the opposite end of the spectrum of fancy I am. So I was raised mostly by my father because my parents split up and my mama found out about oxys, which really hit for her. And
Oxycontins, by the way, for anybody that's not used to the nomenclature.
She was selling them and stuff, went to jail a couple times, whatever. Me and my mama are cool now, but it was a whole thing, as you could imagine.
Not really Martha Wayne.
But, but when they got divorced when I was 7, my mama got custody of us because that's just literally automatically what happened.
Yeah.
Like that. At that time, especially in that part of the world,
it's still
was like
now.
The mother just gets the kids.
Yeah, dude,
like,
not
straight up.
Dude, not for
matter.
nothing. Like that's still. I don't know if it's really exactly how it works, but nowadays, still in the South at least, when you hear that like a woman lost custody of her kids, you're like, whoa, she must have been doing some shit, boy, because they just
especially and again, love my mama, but she was doing some shit.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
She still got custody of us. I don't think it was that bad then, whatever. We ain't got to dive into all that. But either way, she got custody because that's just automatically what happened. But we, from the very beginning, stayed with my dad all the time because, she was busy.
Doing some, right.
Yeah. And so we stayed with my dad pretty much all the time. So pretty quickly, my dad decided, I ain't giving her ass no child support.
Right.
I'm the one supporting these kids. And like,
to her credit,
she never made no shit about it. And also to his credit, like, he was the one supporting. So I get it. But the thing is, we don't fuck with, in redneck culture, we don't fuck with the law or lawyers or the court.
Police.
Court don't hit. You don't do
anybody that,
which is
any type of red tape.
Which is why it's so ironic that rednecks are so fucking tight with cops nowadays.
So
like, when the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
Because that ain't never been a part of our culture.
I have theories, but that's not for this show.
Yeah, right. So my dad just stopped paying child support because he was like, fuck that.
Yeah. I support them.
They're here every night. And again,
matter of fact, she should come through with something.
So, to her credit, she never made any issues about that. She just let that ride because she understood what the deal was. And that went on for years and years. And then when I was in high school, it's something because, child support like goes through the state. So at some point, the state of Tennessee called up, I guess, and was like, motherfucker, you ain't been paying child support for 10 years, And
we tax that, I guess,
he got
right?
like sued by the state, And immediately he told him, he's like, yeah, I haven't been paying it because I've been supporting them this whole time. They've been living with me. And, dude, I had to go.
And a little bit, maybe to their credit, they're like, well, we don't know that.
Well, but I had me and my
It's still bullshit for the record.
Me and my sister both, we had to go to court, like, give signed statements as kids and stuff and say, no, we're living with him. He's been supporting us.
Right.
We had to go through that whole process. And the way it all worked out was at the end of the day, they were like, okay, we're not going to put you in jail because we get it, but
we going to need that.
This money. You still owe all this money. So it was like, the state was like, you still owe all that money. We're not going to put you in jail, but you still owe all that money.
And the thing, though, is like, were they, in their minds, are they going, you owe this money that we're then going to give to the mom? Or is there just like, you owe this to us?
Yeah.
And then.
No, the other thing.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
Well, actually, no, it's not.
Again, I'm not going to dive fully into how I feel about all of that, but
no,
yes,
go off, baby.
but she, but so basically, the state said you don't have to go to jail, but you need to pay all this back. And he was like, well, I don't have no. Tell him I ain't got it. I was like, I don't have all because at this point it's tens of thousands of dollars,
of course,
right? And he was like, I ain't got it. And so they said, all right, well, what can you give? And he was like, well, I don't know, $25 a month or something. And they were like, yeah, we'll take it, whatever. And that settled it, and that was the end of it. And he had to pay $25 a month after that.
In perpetuity forever.
Literally
forever.
Literally, it would have been forever.
And never would have paid off.
Never, ever. But that, and also, not for nothing, that's how a lot of medical bills work in this country now. That's how that works. It was the same type of thing. So he started paying $25 a month just for forever after that, even though he hadn't done nothing wrong. So fast forward years
Which is,
later,
by the way, proof that they don't actually need it or want all of it. Like
they just want you to have to give them something.
Because like my sister has a thing with her daughter where like she had this huge medical bill and they didn't have insurance at the time. And they're like, all right, well, you can just give us $10 a month. And it's like, that'll never even fucking make a dent in it. And it's like,
literally just like, we got to get something from
but they
you.
start at this big number and then you're like, well, I can't do that. And then you go down and they go, oh, well, you can just do that. And it's like, so you don't even really, so
it doesn't matter.
So really it didn't even cost that. Like nobody, like you didn't have to do this shit.
You have to get something from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fast forward 10 years later or whatever, my dad gets pancreatic cancer and dies in 2013. And after he dies.
Just like Batman.
Yes. Just like a lot of people.
Yeah.
But so that happened. I'm the fucking oldest son. I got to fucking handle all this shit or whatever. But there was not much shit to handle. My dad was poor. There wasn't an estate or anything. And so I was just basically canceling his fucking cable subscriptions and stuff like that, And then I get a call one day from the state of Tennessee that's like, are you Trey Crowder? Yeah. So you are the son of Terry Crowder, recently deceased? Yes. And they were like, well, your dad still owed the state of Tennessee however many tens of thousands of dollars, which, for the record, all those payments were then going through the state to my mom.
Right.
Which I didn't even know at the time. But either way.
How much of that 25 was she getting, though? Like, once they took their cut?
I think most, if not all of it.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay. Because that's the thing that makes it even fucking dumber.
They basically called me on their behalf, and they're like, he owes the state of Tennessee $30,000 or whatever it is. And I was like, yeah, I know. For child support, right? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. Well, there ain't nothing. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, but there's a house, right? The house I grew up in. They were like, there's a house. And I was like, yeah, there's a house. And they were like, well, so here's what you can do. We'll help you out. We'll help you out.
We'll help you out.
Here's what you could do. You can sell that house and you can pay us back from the house money and you can keep the rest of it, whatever. Which, dude, it's like my house. It was the equivalent of like a double wide trailer, but just a house. And it's in Salina, Tennessee.
And not the property value.
It is not worth much.
Yeah, right.
But either way, they were like, yeah, so that's what you can do. You can do that and you can handle it that way. And I was like, okay.
And they just expect most people to be like, all right.
Right. So I was like, okay, so that house now goes to me. We both acknowledge that. They were like, yeah. I was like, I'm the executor of the estate, even though there isn't an estate.
You're the puke of Cambridge.
So I'm responsible for this. So we're like, yeah, that's why we're talking to you. And I was like, so what you want me to do is you want me to sell the house that I grew up in and take half of the proceeds and pay y'all back for my own child support. That's what you're asking me for right now? Mm-hmm. And I swear to God, the lady on the phone was like, yeah. Can we call you back? Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
No one's ever said it like that before.
And
usually these people are a lot dumber.
Yeah, right. And I got a call the next day from some manager dude or whatever with the state who was basically like, again, to their credit, probably because I'm white, I imagine.
Of course, bro.
To their credit was just like, he was just like, yeah, listen.
We just gone.
You don't have to worry about
it's
that.
All right.
Which even though I'm white, I still can't believe that happened that way.
I can't either.
I still cannot believe that they weren't like, listen,
because at least you were still poor.
You're going to have to handle it some way,
right?
But
like,
they actually listened to reason. And were like, yeah, we're not going to make you pay your own fucking child support.
Right? Because like this is another one of those situations where it's like I didn't know that red tape was so easily pulled up like that.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Because like clearly like. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that's again, even though you were white, that still fucking blows my mind. But it also like pulls the lid back on the fact that like
they can do that.
They can do that,
right?
And
exactly.
again, and I made the joke just a second ago.
They can do so much that they just don't.
Yeah,
do.
And I want to go back on something. I made the joke just a second ago where I said like, oh damn, normally people are dumber than you, and like that was a little bit rude because like really what it is like most people just have a lot more other shit going on and they don't have time to think about stuff.
Also, you were making that joke from the perspective of the powers that be.
Yes,
and that is how
they think. That is how they think.
Right,
but like that's just so fucked up, man. That they're like, yeah, we can just. But the second that they're called out on it, they're like, damn, you're right when you lay it out like that. So I would like to, that was hilarious. I would like to say like, this is a proof of like, sometimes when there's some bullshit, just say something. But like, again, I still can't believe that they weren't just like, yeah, I hear you, but like,
yeah, you're going to have to pay your own child support.
You're going to have to pay your own child support.
The state of Tennessee has a bill that's due, and it's got your name on it.
Sorry, we're gonna make you the protagonist in a Willie Nelson song. You're your own grandpa now. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's one of the more white trash things about me is that I almost had to pay my own child support.
It's the most white trash thing about you,
which is saying something
for sure.
Hey, y'all, I've been trying to be mindful of how I party, or well, I won't say party. I'll just say wind down in the evening. Used to it was always a bottle of wine or a bunch of beers and stuff. And like, all that stuff is fun, but it leaves me feeling really bad in the morning. It's also not really good for my health. A little personal anecdote, heart attacks run in my family. So I got to do everything I can to minimize the chance of that. And I still want to get a buzz though. So I go with mood gummies from Soul, the out-of-office THC gummies that are fantastic. And they also come in sparkling beverages, which is absolutely wonderful because to me, when I have a couple of cans of those on me, and they're low dose, so I can have a couple of cans, I still feel like I'm having a drink. You know what I'm saying? But I get a better type of buzz, a cleaner buzz, and I feel decent the next morning. They've got also their gummies, which I love. They've got an uplift one, which I can use when I'm like trying to be creative or get things done. They've got a one that winds me down, and then they've got one that strikes the perfect balance, which is absolutely tremendous. Soul is a wellness brand that makes delicious hemp-derived CBD and THC products designed to make feeling good simple. And their new mood gummies have precise dosing, clean ingredients, and formulations designed for predictable effects, which I got to tell you, That's probably my favorite part. I know exactly how much I'm putting in my body. So make today a good day and get yourself some Soul gummies. Right now, Soul is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. Go to getsoul.com and use promo code POA. That is getsoul.com, promo code POA for 30% off. Guys, what do women want and what do women need? Honestly, I have no idea. But when the vibe is right, a good, consensual dick appointment can never hurt. Be her rock with Blue Chew. They're sponsoring this podcast, as always, and sponsoring your bedroom performance. And with their new arousal-boosting formula, you're getting turned on mentally and hard physically. So not only is your dick getting hard, your brain dick's getting hard too. Your heart dick is getting hard. Bricked in the brain, bricked in the body. I've been using Blue Chew for years, and I didn't think it'd get any better. And I got to tell you, Blue Chew Gold is pretty awesome, especially for a dude who's unfortunately aging like me. I think that I'd be okay without it, but I don't want to know. You know what I'm saying? Blue Chew Gold is better sex in a tablet. They combine 4 ingredients into one powerful solution, 2 ingredients to get you hard physically, and 2 that support arousal and desire. Okay? There's a reason Blue Chew is the #1 brand for better sex. Experience it yourself at BlueChew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners right now. When you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get a third for free with promo code POA. That's promo code POA. You will also receive an additional 10% off, free overnight shipping on your first order. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast and the bedroom. Skew.
All right, so my subject for you today, I like to try to find the overlap in the Venn diagram between fancy people and our people. And today we're talking about hunting. Hunting, a thing both sides love. Let's talk first about our side of it. So hunting, Joe,
both sides in terms of us and across the pond,
and fucking bags of shit.
Exactly.
Like us.
Yeah, exactly.
So in our bag of shit culture, hunting is huge. People love hunting.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with hunting? Yeah. See, that's what we look here. So
get it. Pop.
I love how the picture that we got here. The deer that's on the
has a gun.
Yeah, like it would
Makes
be
it fair.
That would be way more interesting if deer looked like that. If deer were decked out like hunters with their own rifles, then it would be a whole different ball game. Dog.
I do remember
self-hating deer.
I do remember back in the day when my liberalism had
that deer's like a black cop.
Yeah. I do remember back in the day when my liberalism had zero nuance or practicality, and I thought, like, the only way that hunting would be even tolerable for me is if people only did it with knives. Like, you had to, like, sit in a tree and
like
jump
caveman shit.
Yeah, and jump on the back of a deer and slit its fucking throat or whatever, and like that would be at least kind of fair, which it very still wouldn't be. But like my relationship with hunting is this. It is that and you know me, like I'm an animal lover, like in the sense of like I don't think you should kill for sport. I don't think that you should beat a dog. Like dude, I've told you, like my dog died 5 months ago and I still literally cry myself to sleep every night and wake up crying from a dream that I had about my dog. I fucking love animals. However, and I know there's a lot of people that go like, these days we've evolved to the point of not having to go kill animals just for our meat. We have other ways of getting food. Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I'm here to tell you that where I live in a lot of places, people being able to hunt deer literally helps them survive. Like, it literally helps them survive. And so here's my point on it. I would never hunt, but I am so glad that my brother-in-law does because he kills too much and I get to eat that shit. You know what I'm saying?
We're about to get pretty red talking about hunting.
Good.
Because let me tell you a couple things that like I feel before we even get to fancy people hunting. Like you said, listen, we've evolved past that point. We can fucking... we have better ways of obtaining our food. And it's like, yeah, and those ways are way more
worse.
Fucked up.
Of course they are.
Than shooting a deer and turning it into chili.
Right.
Like,
also, dude, fuck a deer.
Dude, that's it. Like, that's the other thing.
Again, don't just kill it just to put its head on your wall. If you're going to eat it, that's fine.
People that are Yeah, I completely agree. Generally, if you are a hunter and you hunt and you eat everything you hunt, then, buddy, that's just the way the fake Lord intended.
And where we're from, like, that's the experience I have with people.
That's what we do.
Right.
Yes, right. All the redneck hunters I know, they fucking eat the shit they hunt. But also, like, there are genuine conservation arguments to be made about hunting. You know what I mean? It's like, we got all these deers out here fucking shit up, and there's a million of them. We should murder a shitload of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, then fucking murder them all. You know, like, you got to murder them. I used to live in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where you're not allowed to hunt deer because they're all irradiated because we made a bomb to kill all the Japanese with in Oak Ridge. It's true.
I know.
It's true. That's where Oak Ridge, where they fucking highly enrich uranium, which means deer could eat plants that grew up from that fucking nuclear ground. And so they're not safe.
They got green eyes and shit.
They're not safe to hunt, so you can't hunt deer in Oak Ridge, which means, dude, deer are basically running Oak Ridge. They are fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
I love how you say they're running Oak Ridge like they're just behind the counter at the Dunkin' Donuts.
They might as well be, dude. They
where
might
I'm
as well
from,
be.
yeah.
They are fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and so there's an ecosystem in place, and culling a large portion of a general population in the animal world.
Look at that. See, them guys are giving us a bad rap.
I know. See, well, that's what we look like. That's what we look like when not me and you, we fat and don't hit, but like, this is what our people look like when we're hunting. But I'm saying, even, because, you know, we do we've had people ask us at shows, after shows in like Seattle or wherever, places outside the South, they'll bring up hunting, like how y'all feel about hunting. And we always get defensive about it. We're like, honestly, it's kind of fine.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand.
And you hate to go like,
nuances.
oh, it's just part of our culture, because like there's certain people who could be like, so is beating gay people.
There are genuine arguments to be made in favor of doing that.
Of course there are. There's
not beating gay people don't
ever have any good arguments for it, unless they just like, well, that's what we want to do.
But killing a few hundred deer, there's arguments to be made in favor of it.
Especially if they're overpopulated and you're going to fucking eat it. Also, if you look like that, that's fine.
Yeah, see, and so you see here, like, this
turkey.
is how much of it. Obviously, this is a bride.
Also,
wedding shit.
If you didn't want that turkey to get shot, Obama should have pardoned it. You know what I'm saying? But like, yes, dude. Like, I maintain that if you like are genuinely, my brother-in-law, for example, like when he shoots a deer, I promise you, every single part of that deer is getting eaten by him or me. 100%. He has never just been like, I'm killing this deer strictly because it's got a huge rack on it and I want to put it on my wall. Now, he does that too because, like, what are you going to do? Throw its head away when it hits? Like, that would be rude as well. But, like, I don't really get... And again, like, some of these motherfuckers out there, they can't conceive. They're like, but why don't they just go to the store and they can get soy and they can get all this other stuff that has protein in it. It's like dude, again, like, they really just don't know how the other half lives. Like, not maybe necessarily for my brother-in-law, but a lot of people like in Appalachia, like, that's just the only way they're going to fucking survive.
Even if you keep eating meat, dude, if part of your meat budget, which we all got a meat budget in Red America.
I ain't looked at mine in a minute.
I'm in the red on my
for
meat
sure.
budget,
my wife runs them numbers, but
But if part of your meat budget includes an animal that you killed and dressed yourself or whatever, and thus it supplements the meat budget that comes from big cow or whatever, that is a net benefit to the rest of society. And people could say, like, well, yeah, just don't eat any meat. Sure, but meat hits.
Meat's so
like,
hard, so hard, dude.
But we get.
That's a great blind right there.
We get creative with it. See, no dere's going to recognize that.
But yeah, right. Do you think that motherfucker's just doing it for sport? Like, that very much seems like necessity. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but here's the thing. I think that people, I mean, especially. This may be mostly in this country. I don't know. But I think in this country, mostly when people think about hunters, they think about our people, fucking red-ass motherfuckers.
Not doing it for sport.
But the truth is, like, fancy people love hunting too. They just look really different when they do it. Russ, you have a picture of fancy. Look at that. That's what they look like when they are hunting. Yeah. They're on horseback with a fucking herd of trained murder dogs. Them dogs don't do nothing but murder more innocent animals.
Well, to be fair to them dogs, sometimes they just point out the murders that have already happened so that you can go pick up your murder bird.
No, dude, they brutally murder the foxes. They chase them down.
Oh, the foxes?
They chase them down. They rip them to pieces.
But do people eat foxes, though?
Do. No, they don't.
But why do they kill them then?
Because they don't hit. Foxes don't hit for them.
But like, for real, though, why? Like,
because foxes don't hit for them.
Right.
No.
That's a sport thing, right?
No, it's a sport, yes. It's not because
foxes... I'm not for that.
It's not because foxes don't hit for them. It's because... It does hit for them
to kill a fox,
to murder a fox, to get on a horse, and that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to draw the distinction.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Hunters in our culture get shit on all the time by fucking animal lovers or whatever for doing what they do. And I'm not saying those people don't get shit on for hunting over there, but what I'm saying is like there's a huge difference.
There's a huge difference because
you train an entire. You basically you subjugate and raise another animal for the purposes of murder. And that ain't even counting the horse.
No,
the horse is also there for murder purposes. Right. That's a murder. You got murder horses and murder dogs that you go out to murder a fox just because it hits for you, and you do it dressed like a goddamn extra in a fucking Shakespearean play or whatever. Like, it's a little different.
It's way different. And also, like, when those people, like you said, I'm sure that they hear about it. Well, they don't hear about it. Their secretaries hear about it. Like, but them people, like, they don't ever have to answer for any of this bullshit.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Because they're so hierarchical or whatever that, like, they're like, oh, good, the peasants don't like me doing this. That makes me want to do it more. But, like, our people are out there mixing with other people and going like, what, man? Like, you don't want me to have fucking dinner?
There's kind of a little bit of a parallel. I know in Texas, they hunt the wild boars.
They do.
Helicopters.
Yes, and they shoot them with like AKs.
Well, they're saying that foxes are considered, like vermin.
Overrun.
Spread disease.
And that's kind of different. It is kind of different.
Yeah. So,
and I'll be honest with you, like my buddy told me one time, he's like, hey man, I think
fuck them wild boars for the record.
It's dangerous. Like, it's dangerous, and they're like, well, you just got too fucking many of them.
Dude,
like,
wild boars will overrun an entire area.
I know.
And fuck everything up. And also, they'll kill your kids.
I know.
Fucking wild boars are dangerous.
And I'm going record as saying, like, I literally just got through saying, like, hunting for sport, fuck that. I don't want to do it. But my buddy told me one time, he's like, hey man, would you ever be interested in going to Texas with me and getting up in a helicopter? And what they do is they put you in a fucking harness and you like literally lean all the way out the helicopter and they hand you a goddamn AK and you just fucking unload on these wild boars. And I'll be honest with you, I was like,
I would love
hell
to do
yeah.
that.
I was like, I'd fucking 100% do that. But like, he'd already given me the whole thing of like, there's literally too many of them and it's like a fucking problem. Like, it's a real big problem. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm helping people and it's kind of like Gears of War. I love it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, metal as fuck. I don't fuck them wild boars. Okay?
Right.
Or not make them extinct, but it's the opposite of that.
Well, that's right, exactly.
It's like, the opposite. They are running amok.
Look how big that motherfucker is.
What people may not realize about wild boars is like, dude, you can. I know this is insane.
We just look at it as like that's Pumbaa.
It's insane, but it's true. Regular ass pigs released into the wild become feral, turn into that shit.
Did you know that it's also the opposite?
That you can take that pig and turn it into a hidden pig?
If you took that pig and you put it in like a cage situation and you started feeding it normal and it didn't
civilized
have to, its tusk would fall off. I swear to God.
Reading books to it.
Yes.
Yeah, you took that pig from Africa, bought it to a place with civilization.
Red Charlotte's Web to it.
Red Charlotte's Web to it. Whatever. Next thing you know, that pig's fucking wearing a cummerbund and being okay.
But bro, their tusk, I swear to God, their tusk will literally fall off and their hair will come off and they will just become a regular pig.
In all seriousness, that's fucking insane.
That's one of the craziest things about animals that like I know about it, but like it don't really get talked about a lot. But like that shit's fucking bananas. That they just can, and also by the way, that's such evolution on a fucking micro sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always look at like evolution as like, yeah, over a lot of time things happen, but it's like not really. Like, realistically, if you just change the circumstances of this one particular animal in a very small amount of time, it will then evolve or devolve into a completely different thing. And I say, murder the fuck out of it and let's have some bacon.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But we were talking about, so foxes, I know that people justify it by saying they're vermin or whatever, but it was actually made. There are laws over there in England about fox hunting because people decided that it was immoral or whatever. But what's funny is they made laws against fox hunting, but them motherfuckers still be hunting foxes. Of course,
because those people don't apply. Laws don't apply to them.
Exactly, right. They just do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
And that hits for them.
And one thing that's different about us than them in that is that, like, so where I'm from, you know, like, I'm in a battlefield, like it's the Chickamauga battlefield where the Battle of Chickamauga, bloodiest 2-day battle, and the entire Civil War happened. And in that battlefield, it's protected. Like, there's a shit ton of deer, dude, like fucking a shit ton of deer. But it is illegal to hunt deer in the park. Like, you can't do it. Like, that's not allowed, obviously. And I literally have never even once heard of anyone breaching that. You know what I mean? Like, dudes around there are just like, okay, we're not supposed to shoot them there. We'll go shoot them at Billy's house, whatever. Like, we know that we're not above the law, is what I'm saying.
It's also a thing where, like, I know there are super hardcore animal rights people who do not feel this way, but I feel like a lot of it is just kind of semantics, or it all comes down to just human sentimentality, meaning like Bambi hits for people, deers are cute, you know what I mean? But like, no one is crucifying anybody for catching a fucking rat in their basement. Do you know what I mean? Like,
David Cross used to have that great joke about it.
Like, deer hit for people.
Yeah.
Some people, because it's like, oh, again, Bambi, they're cute, they're whatever. Foals got the little dots on them, they hit for us. And so people give a fuck. But you could murder every possum on planet Earth, and 95% of the people in this country would not give a single fuck about it.
That's changing a little bit, but I agree with you. But like, David Cross used to have a great bit about that, which was basically like, we don't give a shit about tuna because tuna are ugly. But if tuna looked like dolphin, then nobody would fucking just be opening up packs of Starkiss. Like, that wouldn't happen. But like, I do think with possums, it's changing a little bit, especially like just in our culture. Like, because when we was growing up, like, all you ever heard was like, if you see a possum, fucking run. They've got rabies, and like, all they are is just like disease riddled fucking vermin.
They don't hit to look at.
No, they don't. But like, they're a little cute. Like, they're like kind of so ugly that they're.
Say, you're a sweet boy.
I know, but they're so cute that they're so ugly that they're cute a little bit. But I'm saying, like, we've learned now that, like, that's not true. Most possums absolutely do not have rabies.
Yeah,
most
possums are cool.
Possums are cool, and they do.
They're beneficial to
a lot
the
of shit.
ecosystem. Yeah, right.
So like, and nobody's eating possum. So like, if you did just go kill a possum, you were just being a fucking dickhead. You know what I'm saying? But like, I agree with you. For 95% of the country, they would just be like, all right, whatever. Like, and dude, like, when I see when I'm driving down the road and I see a fucking, like, because do y'all have armadillos in Salina?
No.
We got armadillos in Chickamauga.
Armadillos made it all this way? Well, when did you start taking care of that?
Dude.
Armadillos are spreading too far.
But so,
I thought they were only in Texas. Shit.
I saw 3. I did too, but I saw 3 dead armadillos on the side of the road the other day, and in different spots. And like, I remember driving by.
Those just tank rats.
I know. I know.
Rats with armor.
And so, because they're such a foreign thing to me that I never think about aside from just like they're rat tanks, I drive past them, and like, my main thought on them is like, every time I drive, I go, damn, I can't believe we got this many that I keep seeing like dead armadillos, but I don't ever feel any type of way.
Right.
However, and this is just me, like, bro, I get upset about squirrels. I don't know what
bunny rabbit.
Bunny rabbit,
say a cute especially bunny rabbit.
Dude. If I see a fucking dog or a cat that's gotten hit on the side of the road, and I'm like, that's where I'm driving past, I will make a note in my mind of like, take a different way home because I can't see that again. Like, that's gonna really fucking upset me. But at the end of the day, it's not like I knew this dog. I didn't know this fucking cat. The same way that I didn't know this fucking armadillo. But for some reason, in the hierarchy of my brain, it's like some animals mean more than other animals. And realistically,
right. And every human has that.
And I think the reason is because when you see the dog or the cat, you immediately go, that was someone's. You know what I mean? So I'm not necessarily upset about the dog. I'm upset about the person.
You have the same thing about squirrels and bunny rabbits and stuff, and you know those are wild animals.
I know, but
nobody owned that animal.
But do you know why I started feeling that way about squirrels? I started feeling that way about squirrels because I found out that squirrels live in the same place for years and years and years. Like when you see a squirrel and their family in a tree, their papaw squirrel lived in that same tree. The great grandpa squirrel lived in that same tree. They're not just out wild running about. The reason that I get upset when I see a squirrel die is because I know for a fact its kids saw his dead body. I'm not fucking kidding, dude. I'm not fucking kidding because like they say like the squirrels in my mama's yard, they had squirrel ancestors that go back to the Civil War. So
you had like racist Confederate
squirrels just being like these goddamn northern squirrels coming down here fucking shit up. Like
you had you had squirrels that owned slaves.
Yeah, of course. What I got this gerbil that does stuff for me, but I give him a fucking tree stump to live in. Like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. But like knowing that, like every time I see a squirrel, I think like because dude, have you ever seen them videos of like there'll be like a squirrel die and then there'll be other squirrels that come and like bite its tail and like drag it back across the road to like ostensibly probably give it a funeral. That's why that upsets me because I think, and I've broke fucking down, dude. I've broke down. I had to pull over. Like I remember 2.5 years ago. Now, granted, like I was super fucking hungover, coming down from a party. My serotonin levels like weren't great. I'd probably been doing coke for like 20 hours or something like that. But I just saw a squirrel on the side of the road, and I saw its leg just kind of like, it was like still hanging on. And I just remember thinking like, its kids are going to wake up in a minute and like, because their dad just left from their tree to like go get some nuts or whatever. And he never fucking came. He went to get some squirrel cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like
I'm not a squirrel doctor, but I don't think that's how squirrels' brains work.
How do you fucking know, dude?
I'm not a squirrel doctor.
You don't think they love? They don't think they have the capacity to love?
No, I don't.
You don't think that
squirrels love?
Hold on. You're
about to make the case for squirrels.
I'm about to make the case for any animals loving.
Love is a very complex human emotion. I think that maybe I'm not saying they have best friends. Maybe great apes, elephants, and maybe dolphins.
Oh, love. Really? You've never seen? You've never fucked with a baby. You've never fucked with a baby bird and seen the mama bird come up. You've never seen that. You've never seen that. You've never seen a goddamn. I've seen fucking ducks, dude.
Ducks don't give a fuck.
They love their families.
No, they don't.
I'm not saying that they have like best.
Dude, most of these motherfuckers you're talking about will eat their goddamn babies. They don't give a fuck.
You're talking about crabs. I've seen.
I'm not just talking about crabs.
I'm just saying, you don't think they have the capacity to love?
No.
Yes, they do.
What?
So dogs don't have the capacity to love? You've lost your fucking mind, son. Cats don't have the capacity to love?
No, cats are only made of hate.
But they love their babies.
Which hits.
They love their babies.
No, they hate in different ways.
All right. I mean, I'm not going to argue that.
I appreciate cats' hatred.
Yeah, me too, but I'm just saying
cats hate is what most cats
squirrels
hit
are
for me.
They're capable of love.
Squirrels are not capable of love.
I think anything
love.
Anything with a heartbeat is capable of love.
Anything with a heartbeat is capable of love.
Any living thing.
The human definition of love.
Yes, for sure, I believe that.
They eat them.
Yeah, well, if they had to live. We got people that. But how about this? Those are just those are the serial killers of them. They don't all do that shit. We've got women that drown their fucking babies in a tub. Are you going to sit there and say to me like, no? You're going to sit there and say to me like, oh, humans don't have the capability of love because sometimes a mother drowns their fucking baby in a tub.
You are anthropomorphizing. I hope I didn't butcher that word.
No, you did.
You are anthropomorphizing fucking every animal.
Yes.
You're giving them human
capable of love.
You're giving them human characteristics that they do not have.
They're capable of love.
They do not feel love.
Yes,
Squirrels?
They feel love.
They're rodents.
For their babies, they feel love.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They feel love for their parents.
They don't.
I've seen them cuddle, dude. Like they feel love.
No.
They keep them warm.
They might. Animal mothers.
If you watch a squirrel long enough, you'll see it either rape or
I'm saying, dude.
How do you know it? No, but humans do that shit.
You are giving them characteristics that they do not have.
Yes, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
You're telling me.
Yes, you are.
No, because if we do this, then my dog did not love me, and I will
That's
not
not
live.
What I said.
Okay, so a dog's different than a squirrel.
A dog, dude. People force dogs to love them.
Squirrels love their
dogs
kids.
Dogs love anything that fucking gives them the amount of fucking food and attention that humans do. Dogs are programmed to love you, which is fine.
Love
dogs
their families.
Dogs do love you. They are programmed to love you.
I swear to you, I've seen a squirrel whimper over their dead father.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No.
Sure, I have.
They will steal their dead father's nuts.
Well, of course, 100%. Because they have to eat.
Squirrels don't give a fuck, dog.
All right. Well, go back to these.
They don't.
Go back to the foxes.
Squirrels do not love.
Yes, they do. Dude, them and bunny rabbits.
What is even our purpose on it? If love isn't more meaningful than that, then what even is it?
What do you mean, though? That makes love. That makes love the most meaningful, is that it's universal.
They don't love.
Trey.
What?
I mean,
look at that, dude.
Come on.
They love.
They don't love?
Come on.
There's a chigger or something in that bottom squirrel's ear.
And they're helping it out.
Eating. Yeah, helping it. Not because, dude, you could fucking run over that bottom squirrel with a motorcycle, and that top one would be like...
It would have to move on.
That top one would be like, who knows where his nuts are at, because that's what I'm trying to get to.
They have to move on because that's the world, but they still grieve.
Dude,
they grieve.
Love is a complex. They don't grieve. They do not grieve. You could count on 5 fingers the number of animals in this,
what about that
world.
What about that goddamn gorilla that cried?
Gorillas grieve. Gorillas grieve. Elephants grieve. I think
Squirrels
maybe
grieve.
whales. Squirrels don't grieve.
Yes, they do.
Squirrels don't grieve shit.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. Again, love is a complex emotion.
And squirrels are a complex
that
creature.
You are trivializing by
not.
ascribing to fucking rodents. They don't love.
I think that you are trying to make love something out to be what it's not, which is not something that only humans possess.
If love isn't more meaningful than that, then what the fuck is the point of it?
That's the point, is that we all share it.
We don't.
Yes, we do.
Don't. So
yes,
jellyfish love?
No, they're different.
Okay. All right, dude.
Dude, fuck you, jellyfish. I'm talking about like squirrels
as well as most animals.
Mammals.
Do, in fact,
squirrels are mammals, ain't they?
They found that rats and most other animals have the same physical areas of the brain that process emotion and empathy, etc.
Do you want to apologize?
Sure. No, I don't, because rats eat their goddamn babies. Nobody eats their babies that fucking...
They have to, though.
Experiences love. They have to. I would shrivel up and die right now.
I bet you there's squirrels that wouldn't do that, though.
I
bet you there's squirrels that don't do that, though.
So there's just special squirrels?
I'm saying that, like, if you want to, do you want to judge all human behavior based on Jeffrey Dahmer? No. There's some squirrel serial killers.
You are the one who's subscribing this human perception.
It fucking just said that they grieve.
Yeah.
And you go, no, I don't want to apologize for the thing that I said was true. And now, I mean, granted, this is just a fucking, like, Google search.
To be fair, it says, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, I wrote this, by the way.
In the opinion
I wrote this.
in the opinion of the squirrelboard.com.
Who would know more?
Many people.
Okay, I'm just saying, when the NFL puts something out on the goddamn nickel defense, I go with them. You know what I'm saying? They're the goddamn NFL.
They do not grieve.
They grieve.
You are just too into Disney and shit.
You're telling me that I grieve squirrels, but squirrels don't grieve squirrels?
Yes, I am telling you that.
I don't believe
I'm
that.
100% telling you that.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, do you realize how fucking hardcore actual nature is? They don't have the privilege of grieving, Corey.
Okay, Trey.
They don't.
Okay.
Fucking
No.
They leave their kids behind.
So did people in the fucking West, okay? So did people in the fucking West. People in the goddamn West had to watch their goddamn kids die of scurvy all the time. And yes, they had to move on. They had to move on because it meant that their other kid might die. But that didn't mean that they didn't fucking hold that shit inside of him. They just didn't have a moment to grieve. Just because the squirrel has to pick up and go on with his life, and a human being is allowed to actually have a funeral and take a couple weeks off of goddamn work because they have a stock of food, doesn't mean that this squirrel isn't just fucking holding it down inside.
Oh,
that's
my
all
God.
I'm saying.
So why don't you start a fucking squirrel therapy group? You're worried about these squirrels bottling up.
I won't even go to therapy myself.
Squirrels bottling up their emotions and shit.
They have to.
Give me a fucking break.
But fucking like Wyatt Earp and all them motherfuckers did the same shit. They were the
dude,
squirrels of the West.
People back in that day, the squirrels of the West, the fucking people back in the day didn't even name their kids.
I know. know.
I know, and we don't do that anymore.
I know.
I'm saying.
But squirrels were never allowed to. But you're telling me though. But the people that didn't name their kids still didn't grieve. The squirrels were never allowed to evolve to the point that we are.
You are comparing.
Yes.
People from 200 years ago
to squirrels.
To fucking squirrels.
Yes,
dude. Ridiculous.
No,
ridiculous.
They're not allowed to grieve. They don't have a moment because there's a wolf behind them.
None
and just
of those
like fucking the Earths had to do.
None of those pioneers were fucking carving up and eating their goddamn babies.
But they fucking would if they were in the goddamn cold. Hell yeah, they would. But they would always have one of them that would die of natural causes, and they would fucking eat their baby's chest. Of course they fucking would, dude. They did that shit all the time. Are you kidding me?
So squirrels are just a couple generations behind us.
They should all be wearing 6-shooters, dude. Like every time I see a squirrel, they've got fucking 2 guns and a cowboy hat.
I'm not disputing that. Any rodent out there ought to have a fucking Colt 45.
All I'm saying is what you're saying is because they have to move on means they don't grieve. So that's
move on. They have no concept of moving on.
Yes, they do.
No,
they're all survival.
Don't.
They're all survival.
No,
they're all survival.
Right. That's the entirety of their existence.
I know. Well,
is surviving
so did people.
And
people used to be like that. People used to be like that. So you're telling me that in the fucking Black Plague times, mothers didn't grieve their son just because we don't have time to grieve our son because our next one's going to die too? They still grieved. It's just they didn't have all the time we have now. They didn't have to do a funeral. They didn't have time to do a fucking wake. They couldn't take time off work. They had to fucking move on with their life because they were in fear of dying too, and they had to go get fucking nuts to feed their other fucking kids. Grieving is a goddamn luxury that we have, but they still.
I agree with that.
I agree with
that.
They
grieving is a luxury.
But they
that
still.
We have
but squirrels still miss their fucking dad.
It is an advanced psychological and emotional
Squirrels
response.
still miss their dad.
That fucking rodents don't.
They still miss their
dad.
Squirrels
don't miss their dad.
They miss their dad.
Dude, squirrels don't know their dad.
Yes, they do.
There ain't a goddamn squirrel out there that knows their fucking daddy.
Yes, there is.
No, they're not.
All of them.
Squirrels are all like fucking.
I love that you just know everything about squirrels.
Know. Squirrels do not know their
What
daddy.
I know about squirrels.
I'm not a squirrel
Corey,
doctor.
you don't know shit about squirrels. I know everything about fucking squirrels.
I am not a squirrel doctor, but they do not know their daddy.
Wait.
Squirrels do not know their daddy. Squirrels are like every fucking stereotypical.
They literally live in the same fucking area their whole goddamn life. What would be the point of that? They are fucking territorial animals.
Do you realize that almost every creature in the animal kingdom, the dads aren't even there for any of it?
That's because you are watching too much Disney.
That's not true.
Actually, that's mothers.
What I just said is true.
Okay. Well, then they miss their goddamn moms.
Dude, almost. I'm not a goddamn animal doctor, but near 90.
You ain't shit, 90, apparently.
You're just making shit up.
So are you.
No, I'm not.
What's your fucking science?
I'm not making.
Squirrels can love.
Everything I'm saying is fucking backed by science. 98%.
Share your sources, Trey.
98% of all fucking animals, their mama fucking kicks them out the den when they're fucking old enough to walk and catch a fit. Okay, first of all, a huge percent of them don't raise them at all. Fucking, they lay their eggs in the sand and fuck off for years.
Oh, squirrels lay eggs?
I'm talking about animals right now.
You're not talking about squirrels.
Most mammalian mothers...
That's not true.
Support them long enough until they're able to feed. Once they're able to feed themselves, they fuck off for forever.
Nah.
Forever. It's 100% true. That's 100% true.
And I'm sure that hurts them when they leave.
It doesn't hurt
Just like
them.
it hurts a mother when their kid goes off to college.
Every goddamn
They
pet
want them to
dog-
have a life of their own, but they still fucking miss them.
Every goddamn pet dog you've ever had has been ripped from its mother's
And that didn't hit for
arms.
them. It didn't hit for them.
And they were fine.
No, they hated it.
They didn't.
I've seen the videos. They cried, dude. They wept.
For how long?
Okay, we probably need to get back to like rich people.
Well, I had other shit to say about hunting, but
no, go on.
No. We'll
I feel
circle
like
back to that later. We need to move on.
I feel like if we keep with the squirrel thing, Corey might knock the set down. So let's keep rolling.
Okay, Russ. Corey's just such a sweet boy with such a big heart.
That's, by the way, I know that is your very nice way of saying what a piece of shit, stupid idiot.
I'm not.
A very sweet boy with a very sweet heart. No one has ever described Oscar Wilde that way. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That just means Corey's a dipshit and you fucking think that I'm too stupid not to know what you're saying.
No. I think you are ascribing human characteristics to non-human
because I think that we all share a vibration and a soul.
We don't.
I do.
We do not all share those things.
We do.
No. Then what are we are not special. We
aren't. We are.
No,
we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
We're the better. Fucking world at large. We got to be special in some way.
Better,
but different than them. They do not perceive, understand, and process things in the same way that we do.
I'm better.
Don't.
I'm better than Trump supporters, but they have the capacity to love. You know what I'm saying?
If you're trying to say that Trump supporters are basically squirrels, then I'm with you.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah, and we can shoot all them with shotguns. That's fine. Okay, all right.
I just know that I'm right.
Okay, I know for a fact that you're not. But after this, no. After this,
I just ruined your segment.
We will be right back. No, you made it hit. It all hit. I think all that hit.
I'm sorry.
We will be right back with History with Professor Cho, the subject of which this time is
knights.
Knights, basically like squirrels. Knights. We'll be right back.
That was a fire segment.
Yeah, it was great. Hey, y'all, thanks for listening. We're going to talk about our sponsor, Cerebral. Did you guys know that in the last year, rates of anxiety and depression have doubled in the U.S.? Not surprising, right? But did you further know that psychiatrist visits can cost up to $500 per session, and traditional therapy visits are over $100 per session, and it can take weeks to get an appointment? Well, let me tell you about Cerebral. Cerebral is an online mental health service that offers prescription medication, counseling, and therapy for anxiety, depression, ADHD, insomnia, and more. You got any experience with that, Joe?
Yeah, check. And I also have experience with this particular product here, Cerebral. And what I genuinely love about it, number one, as a traveling human being, doing things online is just about the only way that I can do anything. But aside from that, I have to assume that being able to do it in your house, in your pajamas, and not having to drive to a person's actual couch is just better for everybody. You're going to feel more comfortable in your own space. Yeah. It's just a better experience.
Absolutely. And on that note, Cerebral is one of the few services that provides prescription medication online, ships it straight to your door. You skip the pharmacy entirely. They've also got their own Cerebral mobile app, which is like having your personal care team right with you wherever you're at. You can message them anytime. You can connect with your counselor and therapist on your own schedule through your laptop or through using the mobile app. They offer affordable treatments that are 1/3 the price of traditional therapy, and 50% of their clinicians self-identify as people of color because it's important to Cerebral to have the diversity so everyone can get the treatment that they deserve. So for listeners of this here program, you can receive 65% off your first month of medication management and care counseling at cerebral.com/POA. Go to cerebral.com/POA for 65% off your first month. That's just a total of $30 to get started. Y'all can't beat that. Join Cerebral today on their mission to make quality mental health care accessible and affordable for all.
Cerebral.com/POA.
And with Conrad.com can help you get to the house you want and the monthly payment you want. It's that simple. Buywithconrad.com makes it fast and easy, and we can do it for you too. You don't need perfect credit to do this, and you may not even need a down payment, but you need to buy a house. Imagine if you'd done this 2 years ago. You might already have a ton of equity. Wealthy people, successful people, smart people don't rent. Do the smart thing. Buy a house. And the first step, well, is to go to buywithconrad.com. Buywithconrad.com is going to do more than just get you pre-approved like everybody else trying to buy a house right now. You see, in this competitive market, you need an edge to have the winning bid on your next house. And buywithconrad.com can get you completely underwritten before you write an offer. That allows you to negotiate like a cash buyer because you can close faster. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Seriously, get the house you want and the payment you want right now at buywithconrad.com.
All right. right, history with Professor Cho on the subject of knights. As always, I like to give you a little breakdown of what I already know about the subject at hand. And when it comes to knights, not that much. I feel like when I was younger, I thought that knights were like would-be princes or something. Like they were real fancy and would become more fancy later on. It was just like a step on the way. Like they were prince apprentices is what I thought. Then when I got older, I realized that knights were like, what I think right now is knights are somewhere between peasants and dukes. That's what I think about knights.
Well, it's actually interesting because first off, what up? Got that going. It's actually interesting because you were actually closer to correct on your first assumption. In that, and that's not what I thought. Like when I saw knights, I always was just like, okay, these are these people that are employed to like we talked about last episode on the Queen's Guard, right? These are the people who are there to protect the king and the queen. And as we found out talking about them, like they were very underpaid and like had really shitty conditions and shit like that. But like, no, your first assumption was correct. Like in order to be a knight back then, for the most part, you actually had to be highborn, like what we see with like
like no, I knew that
because I didn't though. Like I never really like
they wouldn't let peasants do shit.
I know they wouldn't let peasants do shit, but like fighting for somebody, I always thought they would let them do that.
No,
and I thought it was like
put
you
them on the front lines with a pitchfork or whatever. But to have a horse in a battle, that's your daddy had to be somebody.
No, and dude, you've actually really fucking nailed it. And like I didn't necessarily know that. Like to me, like anytime I was ever looking at anything, just because I'm from the fucking South, when I look at like anybody, any type of soldier, I'm just like, yeah, you didn't want to be there. But like you had to have your college paid for, you didn't have any other thing. But like back then, like these were noble born people, because I guess the thing back then was like everybody fought. Everybody fought, so therefore, in like if you hit hard enough, you got a position to where like, yeah, I mean, you're still in the army, but like we're gonna take care of your ass and shit like that. Now there would be situations where again it was mostly like you were highborn, and therefore you're gonna be able to not. And like and now that I look at like Game of Thrones with like Jaime, so I remember when I first saw his character, I was like, why would this guy be in the King's Guard? Like why wouldn't he just be doing what Peter Dinklage is doing and just like sucking on titties and like doing whatever? But like that was a just insanely noble position to be in. You could, however, be a peasant, and like if you were on the front lines and you didn't die and you just like made some heroic stand or whatever, they would promote you, and then you kept getting promoted. I guess like somebody from Salina joining the army and eventually becoming like a general or something like that. Like there were those things, but like for the most part, like you were a highborn person. You started off as being a squire.
Yeah.
Right. To like a duke.
Who like squires were dudes who like brought swords to knights, right? Or put metal on their horses.
Yeah, they would. Whatever. I mean, yes, pretty much. Like they, like whatever those dudes wanted. Like when you see the movie The Knight's Tale, and like
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger's character is like having to do it. Yeah, that's exactly what that was. Like they were pretty much just like there was no job that they wouldn't do. Like whatever their fucking duke or whatever told them to do, like that's just what you're doing. Like they were the ones that were like carrying the swords. They were the ones that were holding the waters. They were the ones that were, like you said, putting metal on the horses.
Yeah.
Which the metal is another thing. Like these dudes, like a knight, by the way, was only able to become an actual knight when they turned 21. That was like, which is weird because like that number. That 21, which seems like such an arbitrary number, was the same back then as it is now for like drinking.
Do you think that's why? Do you think that
I don't know, because
transcended the eons?
Well, I thought about that when I was researching it, and I was like, oh, that's why that's when they're allowed to drink. But like we are the only country where it's 21.
Right.
We actually, like America, freedom capital of the world, is the only country where 21 is the legal age to drink. Like in France, it's 16. In most of Europe, it's 18. So, like, I don't know why 21 became, like, it's very possible that, like, in America, they just, like, saw some night shit happening and saw the 21 thing and were like, yeah, it's a good number, like, whatever. But, like, before that, you know, they were just pretty much like, hey, we're riding into battle. I'm going to help my fucking guy. They were like a caddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were like a golf caddy. Yeah, look at these fucking dudes. Putting the fucking metal on the horses. Look at those fucking horses.
You got to have metal on your horse.
They look like fucking Scott Steiner.
You can't have a regular ass horse with no metal on it. That don't hurt.
No, and as it turns out, that metal and shit was like really stupid. But I'll get to that a little bit later. But like at 21, they were able to become an official knight, and how they would become an official knight. You've seen the ceremony. Like right now, if we were gonna say like somebody's becoming a knight and we were at the ceremony, what would happen?
You kneel down before the queen or king or whatever, and they take a sword and they touch your shoulder with it, and now you're a knight.
Yeah. Do you know why that they did that?
No.
So the reason that they did that was because a knight had to be someone technically who was touched by a sword in battle or something, but in these circumstances, like oftentimes that just wouldn't happen, so they had to replicate it.
That's like when we were talking about like by Jove or whatever, and we were talking about like they said that so they didn't say by God.
Yeah,
that would
it's like you could just not do any of it.
Like you're gonna fool them, you know. So
right.
It's like, oh, you can't be a knight without having been touched by a sword. So we're gonna fabricate this way to touch you with a sword. And it's like just don't do any of that.
Right. And that's how they did. That's how they
just make it up.
Just be like you're a knight.
You're making it all up.
Yeah, there it is. Look here. Now, this was also, though, Trey, that came after, because what they originally used to do was they would take the would-be knight.
Make them rape a peasant?
No,
in front of the king?
No, you didn't make them do that. They just said it for them.
Yeah.
No, they would actually slap them in the face as hard as they fucking could. Like, they would make them kneel down, and then they're like... Jedi Master or whatever, like the Obi-Wan to Anakin, would sit there and like open hand slap as hard as they could in the face this fucking would-be knight just to humiliate them in front of people. And like how hard they slapped them was like very contingent on just like how much of a dick this particular duke was, but like that's what they would do, was just like fucking whap right in the face. And then like I don't really know, like I didn't really read anything to where it was like, surely it wasn't like the would-be knights were like, hey, we're not cool with that, because you would think they would just be like, yeah, we don't really give a shit. But like eventually it just became like, all right, we'll just fucking like tap your shoulders with the sword, and then now you're a knight. All right. And now once you become a knight, you are someone who is like essentially like, I guess before King Richard II was like, this was kind of the King's or Queen's Guard. You're like the most prestigious person in the fleet, which, though, you pointed this out earlier, basically what being a knight meant that you were the soldier that was on a horse.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's really, like, honest to God, like, pretty much what that was.
Dude, if I had to be a soldier back then, I'd rather be on a horse.
Dude,
you know,
of course you would.
You want a horse.
You were very hard to kill on a horse because, like, the armor that they wore, like, as impractical as we now know that it was, like, the way, I mean, this shit, first off, it weighed up to 75 to 100 pounds that these dudes were constantly wearing. So, like, if you're in a situation where you're wearing to 75 to 100 pounds, you want to be sitting the fuck down.
Yeah.
So you're on a horse, but it was also, like, fairly impenetrable by sword, or like not necessarily swords, but like arrows, which if you're on top of the horse is like kind of the only thing that's going to happen. And you're going to have your barrage of fucking, look at this son of a bitch right here. Like they would just wear that into a battle and be like, yeah, I'll be able to like shuck and jive. And
yeah, but the thing is, like, that shit worked, didn't it? It worked. It was hard to get with the shit they had back. They didn't have bullets or nothing like that. So the shit they were working with back then, that made it hard to pierce your heart.
It made them almost impenetrable by like arrows and stuff like that. But if you were, they had some people on the other side that didn't have that shit. If you were able to get one of them dudes on the ground, they literally wouldn't be able to get up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now that goes to another thing, whereas like actually though, other like this is kind of a weird concept to like wrap your head around, but like if you're on the other side and you capture a knight and you kill him, that actually was you then would get killed by your superiors for killing a knight of the other side.
I've actually heard this before. Like the people that were fancy or whatever on the other side, you weren't supposed to kill him. You weren't supposed to knock a knight off his horse and then kill him. You were supposed. They wanted to be captured for ransom
because they were
purposes.
Huge bargaining chips.
So people were trying not to kill them.
And if you if you fucking were one of the serfs and you were like, oh, got me a knight.
Which you would think that would make your name like,
you would
I'm hot shit now, but it actually
not even close.
Right.
And I when I was reading this, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's insane. Like, why wouldn't you want to kill the most hitting people? But again, it goes back to they were huge bargaining chips, and now you can't fucking hold them capture and be like, hey, we got one of your boys. But then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember in the movie The Patriot when that was kind of a thing where there was just this gentleman's agreement of you don't shoot the officers. You fucking shoot all the fucking little dumb boys.
Peasants.
Peasants. Yeah. But we have a war back then was
a gentleman's arrangement.
It really was, and that's how crazy it is. When you watch chess, war back then literally was so exactly like chess.
Right.
Where it's you're protecting this, and
we're going to march all these peasants in front of you.
Right. But you can't just come there and slap the whole board off.
Right.
You know what I mean? But back then they were even if you killed what would be a bad guy, if you didn't do it to the rule of how war was supposed to be, then you would get fucked with. But to me, I've never, and
now we just send a fucking robot airplane with missiles attached to it into the heart of your town.
And we do, but we still have people accused of war crimes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we need that.
I know that we need that. I'm very aware that we need that. And back then they felt that they need that too. But it's always just been curious and funny to me that we're well, if we're able to sit down here and rationalize and make rule about war, then why
are we even
doing it?
If take war crimes to another level and just not have war.
Let's just keep going with the negotiations.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, you're from the South and you've been pissed, I assume. Well, when me and my buddies have fights, there ain't no goddamn rules.
Right.
I mean, there's no don't punch in the face. Obviously, don't choke them to death and kill them. But then
having rules is kind of weird
because people do still
about.
die, and that's fine. That's not breaking the rules when somebody dies. When me and my buddies are getting in a fist fight, which have happened a lot. Not one of the rules of our fist fight is you can't choke someone to death. That's just a rule of the country, so we don't do it. We just punch each other. But there's never been a time where me and my buddy got in a fist fight, and then afterwards they go, "Hey Corey, you punched him in the left side of the face 3 times, and you're only allowed 2, so therefore you technically didn't win the fight." And I'll be like, "That's weird because he's the one on the way to the hospital, so it seems like I won that shit." You know what I'm saying? But back then they had all these rules. Knights had to follow them. The rules that knights had to follow were what we now know is chivalry. That was one of their big things. You have to go by the chivalric code or whatever, which realistically nowadays people go oh, that means opening a door for a lady, taking your mamaw to the grocery store. It was really more a list of things that knights otherwise would have done had they not had these rules. One of which was, they weren't allowed to steal cows. They weren't allowed to,
Was rape covered? Because probably not, and that's hilarious.
I don't think so.
Can't steal a cow, but rape all you want.
I know I could be wrong, Russ. If you wouldn't mind, pull up the chivalric code. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was one of them was punching a priest, which just the only reason that would be a rule is because it came up a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The priest would just come down and just be like, "Y'all can't be raping all these wenches." And they were like, whatever.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Hey, it ain't cool to punch him, but keep raping all them wenches."
Dude, absolutely. Yeah, so chivalry was an informal code. Yeah, you were supposed to fear God and his church, which I assume means, don't punch a priest, live by honor and by respect the honor of women. All right, I'm sure that they loosely interpreted that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, women whose daddy owned land.
Oh, right.
Got to be.
Right.
Got to be.
Right, exactly. But again, knights, lived a pretty privileged life in the sense of so these dudes were like insanely well paid. Like when you became a knight, you were given, I want to say like 400 acres of land that you would think, oh, that you then have to farm. No, they gave you slaves. And so you have 400 acres of land. You've got all these slaves to do all this shit. You've got a fucking ballin' ass house. But then like they only worked, I want to say 40 days a year or some shit like that. So like, again, like I didn't know, like, I know when you look at it, the knights look all fucking fancy and shit, but I thought it was like, yeah, these are peasants who are risking their life for the king, and the king wants them to look good, but ultimately they're people that are going to die. But like, no, they just like literally just had it made like all the time. Like they were constantly getting gifts from people, constantly getting land. It was literally illegal for the other side of war to murder them because they were such good bargaining chips. Like they had a pretty goddamn, good run of it.
Yeah. So it hit to be a knight.
It really super hit to be a knight.
So how did you become a knight?
Well, again, like
were you born into it,
you were born into it. There was.
What's that mean? Your dad was like
your dad was a knight.
Your dad was like a moderate duke or something?
Something like that. Like honestly, if you look at like Jaime Lannister, it's like kind of similar to that. Like, like your dad fucking hits and then you're born and then like, hey, you can.
Was it possible to be a peasant or somebody that didn't hit then become a knight?
It was.
Well, how did that happen?
It was like the same way as I guess being a comedian where like, obviously, if your daddy was a super rich dude hitting comedian, you can get up on stage whenever you want. They're just going to let you have whatever. But like, you also could like open mic it out in the sense of like, you go to war as a peasant on the front lines and you don't get killed, and you like do some heroic shit that saves a knight or something like that. They put in a word for you, and then I'm sure you still got to keep doing all that shit, but then you could become an honorary knight, which is why Heath Ledger in Knight's Tale is not completely far-fetched, because he wasn't born of nobility. Like, he just kind of like worked his way up to being a knight. That's another thing, too. The jousting and shit like that with knights, like in the tournaments, that was actually kind of treated how comedians do open mics and like shows and shit. Like, those dudes toured. You know what I mean? To like make money. And it was like a big deal. And like nowadays when you see the like medieval night show in like Branson, Missouri, it's obviously them doing a play on what those dudes did, but it's not really that actually different because it all was for entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just a tournament, and these dudes would come in and they would be like, hey, I hit at jousting. And the thing about when they were jousting was you actually could, like with anything in the world, kind of buy your way into being a good jouster, because all that it really mattered was if you had the most expensive armor that was super heavy, that armor would actually like hold up your joust. Like they didn't actually they weren't really holding that shit up. It was kind of propped up on their armor. The richer you were, the better armor you were able to have. A, it was impenetrable, and B, it would hold your arm in a stiff position, sort of like having your like hands wrapped when you're punching a motherfucker. And they would just constantly win. You know what I'm saying? But they would like tour. They would do all that shit. They would also, sometimes when they weren't doing the jousting and killing shit, they had a choreographed dance that they did, on horses, like dressage shit, that they would just kind of ride around, which they called, would you like to guess what it was called? A bunch of horses riding around?
A ride horse?
A carousel.
Oh, okay.
And that is where we get carousel, with all the horses fucking riding around and shit that. I swear to God.
So as a knight, you had to not only be able to knock another motherfucker off a horse with a stick, but also train your horse to do a real hitting horse dance in a circle.
Yeah. They were showmen.
And that would make you hit.
They were showmen.
Okay.
They were absolutely showmen. They were there to please the king. Also, as we talked about in Henry VIII, sometimes if the king wanted to joust, that usually meant that this knight,
you would get killed.
This knight probably about to get his shit wrecked. They would also
so if you hit real hard at the carousel part or whatever, you wouldn't have to joust the king.
You know, I don't know about that. I genuinely don't know about that. Like if they were high, like it's probably they would have like, hey, the king wants to joust somebody, and they'd be like, well, I gotta be honest with you. Rick over here, he ain't really hitting for us. So like, let's throw his ass up there. I'm certain that that's like a little bit of it, but
it seems like that would be how it works.
But yeah, they only really worked 40 days a year. There was just so many of them. They slept in shifts. They one thing that was really cool about Knights, and again with their nobility, is that like they were like a huge employer of like minstrels and singers and like bards and stuff like that. Just much like where nowadays you have like, you know, 3 dudes with a guitar playing wagon wheel to a group of drunk miners at a bar. It was kind of similar. Like a lot of those dudes did those circuits just to entertain the knights who were being paid by the king and shit like that. But yeah, again, like I genuinely thought like, oh yeah, these are dudes who like nothing else, nothing like that. Look at that. There's no way that could hit. But like they really did live like one of the most noble lives of anyone back then that was still fighting for the king. So yeah, that's Knights for you.
Yeah. All right. And I never would have had a shot in hell of being a knight.
You would have had to. You would. And I think that you'd be good in battle. You're. Yeah, no,
I appreciate that, but no, I would not have.
No, me and you would, again, we could only long for being a jester.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
I can fart on a goose.
Yeah, you could fart on a goose. Yeah. But yeah, me and you.
Please let me live.
Yeah.
I can fart on a goose.
And I'll be honest with you, like, there's so many things that I read about this time, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I just would have given up.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been like, oh, is this how it can only be for me? I'll go talk shit about the king and they can just execute me.
Right.
Like, I don't really give a fuck about none of that. But yeah, knights actually lived a life of nobility. It was really sweet. You only worked 40 days a year. Now, granted, like some 40 of those days, like often were in battle. But again, where it was literally illegal to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't supposed to be killed. Like, if you were killed, it was a freak thing and somebody got in trouble for that shit. So, like, of all the horrific ways you could live a life back then,
right,
there's worse ways than being a knight.
Right. Okay, well,
cheers.
Thank you for joining us on Putting on Airs. We'll be back next week.
There we are.
With another one, Airheads.
Here's Lydia Lovelace.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trey and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on airs.
What are we calling this?
The postscript, I believe.
I thought we got some suggestions you liked.
We did, damn it, and I don't have them in front of me, so this will still be.
Of them clearing the air?
Oh, I like that. Yep, that's what we're going to call this, clearing the airs.
There was another one too.
That's a pretty damn good one, clearing the airs.
Well, whatever we're going to call it, we're here now for this week's. Everybody, listen. So, feel like I probably need to explain myself and
go ahead.
Or I don't want to explain myself. I mean,
do you want me to do? Do you want to do mail? Do you want to do the mail first?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I want to do this first.
Okay.
So we was drunk. I was drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't regret anything I said. I regret only the things I did not say. I just want everybody to know that. So I want to stress everybody, as I believe I tried to do on the episode, I believe that animals should be treated humanely and all that. I just don't believe that all animals, rodents included, are capable of higher order functioning on the level of something like romantic love.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept saying the same drunken things over and over without elaborating further on that fact. But I still believe that to be true. There's different sizes of brains. There's different levels of brain activity. There's a whole fucking spectrum. We're at the top of it. Up near us are things like fucking dolphins and elephants and shit. Down at the bottom are goddamn bugs and reptiles and stuff, and fucking squirrels are somewhere sort of ass in the middle, but up on the mammal side of the middle, but still close to the middle. And therefore, do not fucking pen romantic novels in the crevices of their trees in their off time or whatever. That's all I was ever trying to say. I don't hate squirrels. They're fine. You know, I could take or leave them, but they're, you know, they're fine. Well, here's the other thing I want to say, and I'm sorry, I'm not even trying to just reignite the argument, which is what what this is probably about to do. What I'm about to say. No. But the other thing I want to say,
I'm gonna be a Christian about it.
That I don't think I said on the episode is, I find, or it is my opinion, that all the hardcore animals lovers out there who are legion, any of them who profess to love animals so much, who also still eat fucking cheeseburgers and fried chicken buckets, can miss me with all of that shit. Vegans, y'all can come at me if you want to, but because I would argue, if you truly believe everything y'all say about these animals,
hold on. Are you talking to me?
I'm talking anybody. You think squirrels love, but you'll like eat their cousins and stuff?
I've eaten squirrel. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, then, yeah, I am talking to you then.
Yeah. No, I'll just let you know, I think that they love, but I'll still eat them. Like, I think cows love.
Well,
yeah.
And I guess I'm now saying I think that is more fucked up than my stance on the matter.
I agree. I don't think I'm a good person. I just was telling you what I believed.
Well, then we totally good. I just know, I knew as soon as we finished this episode, and I know it now. And so everybody knows, obviously, we're filming the Clearing the Air segment before this episode actually comes out. It's Tuesday right now so we haven't seen y'all's reactions to the episode yet. It's just I'm anticipating.
Yeah,
I think being like, what the fuck was Trey going on about? He really don't like squirrels or whatever. But no, squirrels are fine. I just
Yeah, I mean, I really can't say anything without completely reigniting the argument, which I have no intentions to do. But yeah, I mean, well, first off, I don't eat squirrel anymore. And the only time I ever did was just because, like, somebody had some squirrel and I didn't want to be rude.
Pigs are like objectively above squirrels
for sure
on the list of brains. And pigs are smart. We probably ought not eat them.
No, we shouldn't.
But now I still do, because they just hit so hard.
We're moving. I mean, we're moving ever closer to a world where we shouldn't really eat any of them because we're going to have it all figured out. But that's where my liberalism I have to be like, I'm a hypocrite because, buddy, ain't nothing
fatter
on earth
than I am liberal.
I'm without even question. Like, I've talked before about how I've done pescatarian for like a couple months, where that's like, it's just, I mean, I'm eating fish, but some people are like, oh, I can do that. It's like, it's close enough. And I could do that for a while, but like, I mean, dude, nothing on earth hits harder than a bacon cheeseburger.
Not right.
And two things need to die, and another one needs to be humiliated.
Exploited, yes.
Exploited exactly. For me. I gotta hold on. I gotta take this fucking hat off. This shit ain't working.
I guess on that note, while he's taking the hat off, I'll just say to y'all that I'm pretty much like, when we're filming the real show, I'll be all gussied up or whatever. I'm not going to make any promises for this part.
Yeah, it would be so hard for you to just put on a blazer.
They're not. It is, because Katie doesn't like me keeping all that shit in the guest house all the time. It stresses her out. She just moved it this time without saying anything to me about it, and puts it in the fucking garage in the back. So when you come out here, I pull everything out of the garage for the few days you're out here, and then I put it back up. So it actually is kind of a big pain in the ass for me to go get all that shit, a different one every week, just to do this one segment.
I'm ordering a new outfit from Amazon every week to do this segment. So
you live in a gargantuan house because you're in your hometown in Georgia. Okay. If I had the closet space you do out here, it wouldn't be an issue, but I don't. And I just don't have it. It's just not. Yeah. Also, you've got all this new shit. You gonna be bringing that new shit with you. All the stuff I've got is the stuff we've worn in the episodes, and what I have in that we haven't worn yet, I'd like to save to wear the next time we film. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, now that we've cleared the airs, would you like to get into, what are we going to call the mail segment? Is there a fancier way?
I say this whole goddamn segment is clearing the airs.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm not going to do what I just did every week. I don't plan to anyway.
Yeah.
I might mention something from the episode, but I'm not gonna go into my cross-examination of myself or whatever.
I have a feeling that next week we're going to end up talking about this segment again because there's going to be something really funny that some PETA person comments to you, and I would like to read them aloud.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, would you like to do some mail here on this same segment of Clearing the Airs? Okay. Here we go. One from Rufus. Oh, this is two putting on airs, but it was entertaining show tonight in Portland. Loving putting on airs. FYI, Reagan, Dan Quayle, President Bush Sr. all visited Portland over 1984 to 1990. Quayle at least twice, Bush twice. We had two. This doesn't have shit to do with putting on airs, but they did say they liked the show, so we appreciate you there, Rufus.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to the stand-up show too. That's
absolutely awesome. Appreciate that. And I'm not going to read all the ones that we got about gypsies, but there's which, by the way, I will from now on be referring to as the G word. But I wanted to, because I don't think Tyson Fury calls himself the Gypsy King, like that's his moniker.
Well, this is what we said on the episode.
Yeah, right.
I think I've always understood that it's like Indian. Some of them are down with it, some of them aren't. Now, maybe
and for the record,
not that at all, like we aren't. Maybe you just shouldn't roll the dice on that word, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't think it's exactly like the fucking N-word or anything.
No, I know. Well, here's one from R. Taylor Quinn. Hey, Trey and Corey. Huge fan of y'all and have been listening to Putting on Airs religiously every week. I did have to stop this week's episode for a minute to send you this, though. You mentioned how you don't think anyone in America has been racist against gypsies since we don't have many here. Unfortunately, I must correct you on this. A few years ago, this is hilarious. A few years ago, America's preeminent white supremacist Tucker Carlson did a segment on his show where he busted out a vintage bottle of 1749 European-style racism on the Romani people. I have included a link to this below, which regrettably I had to go to Fox News to find. Hopefully the next month the far right ads I'm about to receive will be worth it if it helped y'all learn something. Everything else about the show is awesome. Love, Taylor. Thank you, Taylor. Then from Mike Anthony, big fan of well-read skews, the whole, well-read oeuvre.
It's called the Extended Skewniverse.
The Extended Skewniverse. I was playing the latest POA for some friends and couldn't agree more with your point about super rich guys always dressing like regular dudes or worse. I'm a college sports writer and routinely go to media days for our football conference. I write for Georgia Southern, and they're in the Sun Belt Conference with the likes of other smaller Louisiana, Alabama, and general backwoods Carolina schools. The former coach for
App
Coastal
State, I believe.
Yeah, there you go.
Been running that conference for the last little bit.
And what's their mascot?
Mountaineers.
That's it. Yeah,
Mountaineers. But you got to watch it with that and drunks in Carolina.
It's funny. Yes, you do. It's funny because he says, and general backwoods Carolina schools, which clearly means that. The former coach for Coastal Carolina began his career as a financial mogul and had at least hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion in the bank before he started his second career as a college football coach. Without fail, every year we'd go to Media Day in New Orleans and all of the head coaches and their $70,000 a year contracts would show up in a private jet donated for the day by a booster and would be cheesing for the cameras in their new $3,500 suit. And then the CCU guy would show up in a rental car that he drove from the airstrip with a private plane he actually owned, wearing a standard issue CCU polo shirt, khaki sneakers, and where everyone else spewed nearly unusable coach speak, he always had 5-minute answers with some story or substance. So this guy seems like he hits. Keep up the good work, guys. You are awesome. That's Mike Anthony. Appreciate that. And then gypsies. Then we've got from LA Go Throw. I cannot decipher what this means, but I believe she wants this read aloud. Dearest sirs, after viewing and listening to your content on YouTube, I find myself desiring to participate in your online discourse. I just don't know where, LOL. I've read a lot of history, and I have a lot of history books, and am very well spoken. Well, I had to give it a try. Keep up the good work, lads. With kindest regards, Lucy Gothrow. So, Lucy,
sounds like you did it.
You did it, and also keep commenting on all the Putting on Air stuff on Twitter. I promise you, the discourse gets
Well, I would not even say this because of how dumb about the thing I am, and I'm pretty sure you're dumb about it too. But we should at some point, I don't know,
do a Reddit thing.
I was going to say a Discord or something.
Oh,
I don't know how those work.
I don't either. But hey,
take that as gospel because I don't want to commit to nothing that I don't understand. But I
couldn't
think
we
that's
just
a
have
thing for the kind of thing she's talking about?
It is.
But
don't sometimes just fans of a thing start one and then we wouldn't have to do it?
Believe so. Yeah, go ahead and do that, Airhead. Start you a Discord. I don't know how they would get each other on there.
Well,
though.
we would decide who the official Discorder was,
there.
and then
I guess,
we would pump it out
sure.
there.
If somebody wants to start one, you want to publicize it on the show for other Airheads to join. If you want to do that, I guess you can do so and email it to this same email address. And yeah.
So 2 more. Hunter Bryant says, I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the great content. I get laughs from you here and the well-read stuff in the extended Skewniverse. Please come back to Huntsville, Alabama soon. I hope that we do. Love it down there. And then this last one, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to read it verbatim. It's in all caps. And I'm going to spell it to you afterwards. Day New Mall, baby. D-E-Y, one word, new, M-A-W, baby. Day New Mall, baby. They knew my baby?
I was thinking they knew my baby is all I can come up with, but I don't remember us saying that. That seems like it might be somebody either mocking or celebrating, whatever.
Yeah. Our whole deal.
Country ass way we said a phrase, but I don't remember us saying they knew my baby. Did we?
I bet it was a squirrel thing.
Maybe. Did we
They knew my baby.
Well, no, dude, they ain't heard the squirrel thing yet.
Right. It couldn't be the squirrel thing.
The people listening right now, they just heard the squirrel thing.
Yeah.
But the people who you just read from, they have not yet heard it. Because that's the thing. We're all over the past and the present. We got to juggle the past, the present, and the future in our heads as we do these segments. And we're time dumb in the first place. So that's hard to do. But anyway, no, it couldn't have been a squirrel thing. I don't know what it was.
I don't know what it was.
But
I don't know what it was.
They did know that baby, though.
They did know that baby. Well, Bryant Foley, if you want to message.
Literally the whole message.
They knew my baby.
They knew my baby.
And email. Yeah. No subject line. That just they knew my baby. So Bryant Foley, if you want to send me another email explaining that, I'll be.
God, dude, if he follows it up with some more of that, but different,
it's gonna really hit.
You did know that.
Whatever.
And he just keeps doing that. It's gonna really crack me up.
Oh well, that's all.
No pressure though, Bryant. You don't have to. I'm just saying, that's funny.
Man, aren't you having a blast with this show, Trey?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're about to. Well, we will be doing some more soon. I mean, we're gonna just keep doing more, just so everybody knows. But I'm saying it's getting close to time to
come out there.
Some more in the can, so that'll be fun.
Oh, and hey, speaking of that, we've got 16 episodes in the can. So what you want to hear might have actually already been covered, but you don't have to exclusively send Pioneer gibberish to our email. You can, if you want to, send suggestions for things that you would like Professor Cho to cover, or would like Trey to cover, and we will include those when I go out there to film this next batch.
You need to understand that we would love that. Please do that. But I mean, also in doing so, understand that if we take a suggestion, it will be months before you hear it on the show, but that's okay. We still would appreciate them. That's called outsourcing the hits to y'all. That's what we're trying to do.
You damn right it is. And we appreciate all y'all's support so far. Thank you for liking, subscribing, downloading, all that stuff. If you haven't yet, please, if you're just streaming the podcast, if you could subscribe and download, that would really help with our numbers and stuff. And also, if you could go out of your way to whatever podcast platform you're listening on, if you could leave us a 5-star review and leave us a little written review there, it would take you 2 seconds. It could literally just say podcast hits. That don't matter. It really helps us move up in the ranks, and we want to stay in that iTunes Hot 100 because that would hit for us.
Would hit for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I had something else to say, but then I forgot.
Well, that's good.
Yep. Yep. So just do everything Corey just said and make a hit.
Okay. We love y'all.
Love you. Bye.
See you next Fancy Friday.
Fancy Fridays.